Hey there, and welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into the value blueprint, beyond trading time for money. Look, if you've ever collapsed on the couch at the end of a ridiculously long week, checked your bank account, and just thought, why isn't all this intense effort translating into actual financial freedom? I want you to know you are not alone. It's an incredibly universal struggle. So let's jump right in. We're going to unpack the actual mechanics of wealth, effort, and systems, and look at some truly eye-opening concepts.
It's kind of the ultimate question, isn't it? Why does making money feel so hard? Take a second and really chew on that. For a lot of us, every single dollar feels incredibly difficult to earn. It's a grind, a daily, exhausting battle. But then, you look around, and for other people, money just seems to flow in almost effortlessly. So what's the deal? Is it just because life is inherently unfair? Are you just not talented enough? Or is there a completely different set of rules playing out beneath the surface that we're just missing?
Okay, imagine you're pushing a giant boulder up a really steep hill. Every single step takes monumental physical effort. Every meter is fiercely earned. You're sweating, you're struggling, you constantly have to stop just to catch your breath. Now imagine someone else standing all the way at the top of that hill. Their boulder is just rolling downhill. Gravity is doing literally all the heavy lifting. To the person struggling at the bottom, man, that looks completely unfair. But to the person at the top, it's just physics. And honestly, making money often operates exactly like this metaphor. Let's look at two people who start at the exact same bottom of that hill.
Meet Sarah and James. They're both 29 years old, both incredibly hardworking, and both deeply want financial freedom. They literally start from the exact same place. Sarah works long shifts at a busy downtown espresso bar. She earns her money by exchanging her hours directly for wages. The equation for her is super simple. If she doesn't work, she doesn't get paid. Now James, he actually started out the exact same way. But over the years, he took a totally different path. He spent his free time learning Python programming, he built a small e-commerce store, and he started investing a chunk of his income. Now, some of James's money continues working for him even while he's fast asleep. Neither of them became a success overnight, but their fundamental approach to work split their paths completely.
Think about trying to fill a massive swimming pool using just a tiny bucket. You're walking back and forth all day long, your arms are burning, you're absolutely drenched, and you are just completely exhausted. Eventually, yeah, sure, you'll fill the pool, but it's going to take an agonizingly long time. Now contrast that with taking the time up front to build a water pump. The physical effort changes drastically, not because the person with the pump is inherently working harder than the bucket person, but because they took the time to change the system itself. And that's the kicker. So many of us try to earn more money without ever changing how we earn it.
Which brings us right to the hard reality of Sarah's situation, and the number 24. Sarah hits what we call the time trap. She realizes, look, there are only 24 hours in a single day. Sure, she can work overtime, she can pick up extra weekend shifts, she could even hustle and get a second or third job. But eventually, she is going to hit a hard, unbreakable mathematical ceiling. Time is finite. Now, to be clear, earning a salary by the hour isn't a bad thing. It's honest, it's reliable, and it's the foundation of security for millions of people. But relying exclusively on selling your time, that makes income growth painfully slow.
So here's an absolutely crucial point. We need to redefine what value actually means. Imagine walking into a massive global marketplace. Here's the truth. The market does not care how much you sweat. It just doesn't. It doesn't reward raw physical effort alone. It rewards value. Think about it this way. One person can work incredibly hard all day long digging holes with a shovel. Another person might spend just one single hour solving a complex business problem that saves a company thousands of dollars. Both of them worked hard, but the market reward, the value, is entirely different. You really have to shift your mindset from how can I exert more physical effort to how can I solve a more meaningful problem.
Think of this like Gem's skill tree. If you've ever played an RPG video game, you know that every new skill you unlock makes all the future levels so much easier. Well, real life actually works the exact same way. Gems basically spent his evenings leveling up his character. He mastered communication, then added Python programming to the mix, stacked that with marketing, learned negotiation, and really honed his problem-solving skills. Each new skill exponentially increases the value he can offer to the marketplace. And because he can solve bigger, much more expensive problems, people are more than willing to pay him a premium for it.
Meanwhile, Sarah starts to notice something pretty alarming about relying solely on manual hourly work. She's facing this invisible competition. You see, she isn't just competing with the person across the street for a job anymore. She's competing with rapidly advancing technology, highly sophisticated automation, artificial intelligence, and a deeply connected pool of global talent. The world is evolving at breakneck speed,
right? A skill that was highly valuable yesterday might be completely automated tomorrow. This is exactly why continuous learning isn't just some corporate buzzword, it is a fundamental survival mechanism in the modern economy.
But here's the massive warning label for this entire process. Building value is exactly like planting a seed. For months, or even years, you're going to water the soil and absolutely nothing seems to be happening on the surface. Earning money this way grows exactly like a tree. The beginning is painfully, frustratingly slow. Learning a new coding language, trying to get a side hustle off the ground, growing an investment portfolio, it all takes immense time. And tragically, this is the exact stage where most people just quit. You've probably felt that temptation yourself when a new project wasn't instantly profitable. You have to push through that quiet, underground phase.
So, let's flash forward a bit. Sarah has been watching James succeed for years now. She sees his investments growing, his business thriving, his time finally freeing up. Finally, she sits him down and asks him the question we've all wanted to ask someone who has made it. She asks, James, how did earning money become easier for you?
And James, he just smiles at her and delivers this absolute mic drop of a realization. He says, "It didn't. It became different." Wow. James didn't figure out a way to magically stop working. He didn't find some secret cheat code that eliminated effort. What he did was fundamentally alter the very nature of his work. The effort he puts in now yields an entirely different kind of return.
When James first started out, he was just climbing a single ladder, one step at a time, trading his time for money. But eventually, he started building ladders that other people could climb. He shifted from selling single hours of his day to creating scalable products, designing services, building systems, and acquiring assets. He essentially created things that lived entirely outside of his own physical time. A great way to think about this is the river metaphor. If you want water, you can run down to the river every single day and cup your hands to collect it. But man, that's a daily grind. Or you could spend a year doing the hard, muddy, awful work of digging a channel that routes that river directly into your field. Building a business, investing in the stock market, earning royalties, creating digital products, these are all channels. They don't mean you never work again. They simply mean that the intense effort you exert today is going to continue producing value for you tomorrow, next week, and next year.
So what happens to Sarah? Well, she really takes this to heart. Let's jump 10 years into the future and look at her timeline. She doesn't just quit her job overnight. No way. In year 1, she just starts learning new, scalable skills in her off hours. By year 3, she leverages those new skills to move into a higher-paying role. It isn't actually until year 5, with that extra income, that she starts investing consistently, building her own channels, and finally, by year 10, she has built an incredibly lucrative weekend freelance business based on high-value problem-solving. She stopped relying on her sweat alone and started building a system.
Now, we absolutely need a reality check here. Financial success is never, ever just about having the right mindset. We have to look at systemic factors. Your access to quality education, the macroeconomic conditions of your country, your physical and mental health, the heavy family responsibilities you might be shouldering, and even your geographic location. All of these play massive, significant roles in your journey. Everyone starts from a completely different place on that hill we talked about earlier. Some start with a much steeper incline. But regardless of your starting point, making intentional decisions to slowly increase your value is the most reliable way to improve your odds over time.
Which brings us to our final thought. The next time you feel completely burnt out, the next time making a living feels incredibly difficult, I want you to stop and ask yourself, are you just asking yourself how to work harder, how to carry more buckets of water, or are you asking how to become more valuable? Because money ultimately follows value. And your value is something you have the power to keep building piece by piece for the rest of your life. So start building your pump today. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.